presence. Good to be here, good to see you, good to be with you. And as folks are joining today, if it's at all possible or feels okay for your nervous system to turn on your camera, if it's okay for your internet and okay for the amount of Zoom you've had this week and so on, if you can turn your camera on, even for a moment, so that we can see each other. And as folks are joining in, you might just take a few moments to look at the faces, the names, the spaces that people are in, so that we have a sense of being in Sangha, being together in this practice today. Just letting yourself slow down, allowing yourself to arrive here in this moment, in this time. And if you're just joining in, welcome. My name's Djuna Devereaux. My pronouns are she and her. Today I am on Orcas Island, which is my home. This is Coast Salish land. And I'm welcoming you here into this Sacred Mountain Sangha Sunday gathering. And we're just taking a few moments as folks are joining to see one another, to be seen. If it's possible for you to have your camera on for a moment and be seen, that's great. Otherwise, keeping your camera off is also fine, so we can see your name. It might be a sense of being in your own body, so connecting to your own body, your breath, a sense of embodied presence, while also seeing others and being in this space together. So again, welcome. It's really good to be here on this Sunday, January 19th, 2025. What a moment. Here in the US and all around the world, there's so much going on. There's the fires in LA, here in the United States, and tomorrow is the inauguration. Tomorrow is also the Martin Luther King Day, remembrance of Martin Luther King, and all of the personal and collective events of this moment are present with us, are impacting us, our bodies, our minds, and our hearts. And I've just returned from teaching for a week at Spirit Rock. I'm teaching a year-long training there, and this last week was the middle retreat of that year. And being in the space, we were hybrid, so some people were in person and some people were online. But being in the space with people, both physically and online, there was such a strong sense of what we are all carrying. And it's different for each one of us. And yet there's a strong felt sense of the impact. And after the first day we were sitting together, we were doing a lot of movement. It's a Dharma and yoga training, so there was a lot of movement, some chanting, and also some time relational practice. Yes, and thank you, Susan. There's also a ceasefire and the ongoing genocide in Gaza, ceasefire in quotes. And so after this first day of being at Spirit Rock together, one of the participants came up to me and was telling me about their life, some of their personal challenges. And then they said, sitting together in Sangha is a balm for our time. And that really touched me, the sense of collective refuge, that what we're with in this time is too much to hold alone. And that even the sense of doing it alone or holding it alone is an illusion, is really at the heart of the Dharma, is this recognition of the truth of our inseparability, of our interconnectedness, of our interbeing, that our lives are completely and deeply interwoven, and that we can rest in that. We can be held by that. We can consciously connect to the sense of the collective refuge. And so I wanted to share a quote by one of my favorite teachers and somatic therapists, social justice leaders, Prentis Hemphill. And this is from their book, What It Takes to Heal. And they say, the reason why some things feel too big to be felt alone is because they are. A lot of our distress is bigger than one body or than one generation. We need the alchemy of witness, ceremony, and ancestors to feel. So I opened this session with witness, just the sense of witnessing each other and being witnessed in our collective dedication to wisdom, to the qualities of the heart, to waking up, to moving from divisiveness into interbeing. So there's a sense that we are here together, we are witnessing each other, and that your presence supports my presence. We are also here to honor lineage. So we'll do some chanting in a moment. And this is the lineage of awakening. This is an Asian lineage. It's from the moment of the Buddha's awakening and even much before that, from his awakening under the Bodhi tree. And then the teachings have spread from Nepal and India and all throughout Southeast Asia, in China, Tibet, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, all throughout the world. This lineage of awakening has been passed, as it said in the Zen practice, from warm hand to warm hand. I love this sense. That just by showing up today, just by being here, you're practicing the living Dharma. You're sustaining and enlivening the Dharma and also allowing it to be passed from one person to another. And so when we contemplate lineage and when we make an offering of our voice through chanting or through listening to chanting, if you prefer not to chant yourself, this can undermine our sense of separation, can unify. Again, this reminder that it's not just this Sangha that's coming here, Sacred Mountain Sangha, this group of 30 folks who showed up today, but it's also thousands of years of practitioners, of Buddhas, of bodhisattvas, of beings seen and unseen, human and more than human, that are part of this lineage that we can remember and we can also rest in. So this moment carries that legacy of the past, carries that history, all the moments of awakening, of care, of metta, of karuna, of equanimity, through all the social challenges and wars and upheavals that have come before us. And so we don't just practice here and now, but we practice with lineage. And at the same time, the Dharma, the moment, is always arising fresh. That's the sanditiko. That's the ever-present Dharma that is collective. That is the truth of Dharma, that there is Sangha, there is interbeing, this matrix of the collective, this intimacy of the heart. So let's chant. We'll chant the refuges and precepts, and possibly also Itipiso, another refuge chant. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can see. And let me see, Kelly, can you see that? Just a thumbs up, thank you. So we begin at the top of page 3 with the Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. We'll chant this in the Sri Lankan melody we'll go right into the refuges, and then we'll go right into the precepts. And I'm just going to chant them in Pali. I won't say the English translation. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham sharanam gacchami. Dharmam sharanam gacchami. Sangham sharanam gacchami. Dutiyam pi buddham sharanam gacchami. Dutiyam pi dhammam sharanam gacchami. Dutiyam pi sangham sharanam gacchami. Tatiyam pi buddham sharanam gacchami. Tatiyam pi dhammam sharanam gacchami. Tatiyam pi sangham sharanam gacchami. And just slowing down, sensing the resonance of the sounds in the body, the mind, the heart. The sense of sharanam, refuge, shelter, gacchami. This ongoing practice of realigning with presence, with the truth of how it is now, with our interconnectedness. And we'll chant the precepts, these 5 gifts that we offer each other, we offer ourselves, we offer the collective by caring, by not taking life, intentionally taking life, by refraining from that which is not given, from refraining from misuse of our sensuality, our sexuality, by refraining from speech that is not skillful, by refraining from intoxication, by caring for the mind, caring for life, caring and being generous in the field. We recognize how deeply our lives are intertwined, and we honor that. We give this gift of the precepts, sila, arising out of care. So we'll chant the Pali, the 5 precepts. Panatipata Viramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami Adinandana Viramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami Kamesu Michachara Viramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami Musawada Viramani Sikapadang samadhiyami. Sura meraya Majapamadatana Viramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. And let's chant Om Shanti 3 times. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. And let's chant Itipiso on page 4. Again, this recollection of the jewels, the triple jewels of Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. This is a recollection of the qualities of the triple jewel. Starting at the top of page 4. Itipiso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho Vijacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati satta devamanusanam buddho bhagavati sawakato bhagavata dhammo Sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko opanaiko pachatang veditabo vinyuhiti supatipanno bhagavato sawaka sangho Ujjupatipanno bhagavato sawaka sangho Nayapatipanno bhagavato sawaka sangho Samicipatipanno bhagavato sawaka sangho Yadidang chattari purisa yugania tapurisa pugala esa bhagavato sawaka sangho ahunayo pahunayo dakinayo anjali karaniyo Anuttarang punyaketang lokasati. Taking a moment to feel into how it is to honor these 3 jewels of Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And let's close this opening chanting session with a mantra. So mantra on page 3, the first mantra. So Tayata Om Muni Muni Maha Mune Soha. So we're honoring Shakyamuni, Muni Shakyamuni Buddha, the Tathagata, the great silent sage. Tayata Om Muni Muni Maha Munaye Soha Tayata Om Muni stop my share and welcoming you back. As I see your names and faces, we'll go into a period of meditation and we'll sit together for 20 minutes or so. And I'll begin with a little bit of guidance and then I'll be silent. I'll turn my microphone off so you won't hear me. I'll possibly give a few words partway through the 20 minutes, just some reminders, some reconnection possibly to the sense of collective refuge, of being in Sangha and of lineage. And I'll ring the bell at the end of the 20 minutes. So your nervous system and mind know what's coming. So taking some time to come into relationship with the body. Even if you don't feel the body, it's hard to connect with the body, or there's pain in the body. It might just be the sense there is a body, and what's the relationship to how the body is now. And that we don't have to generate kindness for the body. We don't have to force ourselves to be embodied. That the earth itself is there, is here to hold this body. This body itself is earth. So for now, it might just be enough to feel the ground beneath you. To know that gravity holds us. And we belong inextricably to the earth, to this planet, just by being alive. If the breath is available, the breath itself is a reminder that we are held. This life is a gift. This breath is an offering, an ongoing exchange with the plant kingdom, the trees. So breathing in, breathing out. Again, we don't have to make ourselves breathe deeply, but you could. It might be nourishing. But the breath will breathe the body. And taking refuge is alignment with how it is here and now, with presence. So there is an invitation into presence. This world, this life calls us to be here, invites us into its aliveness, its wildness. But we can also rest in presence. That again, the world around us, the natural world, the human world, the more than human world, is here, is present. The Dharma is always here and now, sanditiko. So even if the mind is distracted, upset, all tangled up, the body is present, the heart is present, the breath is arising again and again, present. You might sense the Sangha. Those of us in this Zoom space, the Maha Zoom, and all those practicing a spiritual practice today in this moment. All of us taking refuge in presence, in love, in truth, in belonging. Again, we're held in that collective refuge. We don't have to try so hard. It's not just a me doing this practice. We're entering the stream of awakening with each breath. Might also be a felt sense of ancestors, the lineage of practitioners, of Buddhas and bodhisattvas, committed to awakening, not only for themselves, but for us, for you, for me. This ocean of compassion that we can rest into. The body can be held in. Metta, compassion, mudita, joy, equanimity, upeksha. Again, we don't have to generate, make it all happen. The ground has been laid for us. The Dharma is alive. We're making ourselves available to refuge, to kindness, to compassion. in moments of unsteadiness or entanglement, we can begin again. And we can begin again alongside all of you who are here in this lineage of practitioners, our ancestors, Dharma ancestors, sitting here with us. You might contemplate, who are the teachers? Who are those that embody wisdom and compassion? Maybe Kuan Yin or Earth Store or some other, the Buddha, some other embodiment of compassion, someone living or unseen. Those who have held us, held you in this practice, in moments of tenderness, who have loved you ongoingly into wholeness. And in the last few minutes of our sitting, we'll share again the words of Prentis Hemphill. The reason why some things feel too big to be felt alone is because they are. A lot of our distress is bigger than one body or than one generation. We need the alchemy of witness, ceremony, and ancestors to feel. So what is refuge for you? What is collective refuge? As we tend and attend again and again to how it is now, how is it to recognize that we're not alone? That we are witnessed and that we witness each other on this path. With all our human struggles and joys. And at this coming together, this Sunday Sangha, every time we gather with Sangha, even if we're alone, sitting, it's a ritual of attention, a ritual of refuge, joining this great river of awakening, the ocean of compassion, this matrix of the awakened heart-mind. So thank you for your practice. And I wanted to say a few words about collective refuge, and about lineage. I was teaching on a retreat, some of you were there, in November, the November Insight Retreat with Tanisara and Kitty Sorrow and Gulu Singh and Don Mauricio, Adam Stonebreaker, Yang O, and myself. And Tanisara gave a talk on Thanksgiving, which is a tender day for many people. It can have a lot of beautiful meanings and a lot of challenge. It can be a very difficult day for Indigenous peoples, a reminder of the theft of land and of their lineage. And so she gave this talk about refuge, about the Four Truths, about lineage. And she described refuge as a change of lineage. And this has really stuck with me and been something that I've held in my heart as a question. What does this mean? A change of lineage. What lineage are we moving from and what are we moving into collectively when we take refuge? And when I feel into this, what she was speaking about and what it means for me, it's this change of lineage from greed, hatred, delusion, from dukkha to presence, to the Brahma Viharas, to awakening the heart, to all the qualities of wisdom and compassion. And so when we take a moment to realign, to remember presence, to remember the teachings. We are taking refuge. We're changing lineage from whatever it was or is that we have been entangled with. The way that the mind picks up a thought and makes a world out of it. We're changing from that world, from that story, from that lineage, from that karmic cycle, from samsara into awakening, into presence, just in a simple moment of being here with wisdom, with compassion. So we're changing lineage from samsara to awakening. We're changing lineage from individualism, from a sense of isolation or separation, from this very strong illusion of a separate self, which is of course true and ultimately untrue. So that's the difficulty, to realize our inseparability, because we do need boundary, psychological and physical. But within that, we can realize, we can wake up to the fact that we're not alone. And that we've been culturally conditioned to believe that we are, to believe that we're separate, that we operate alone, that we climb some sort of ladder by our own steam. And in truth, that's never been the case. It wasn't the case for the Buddha, and I'll share a little bit about that. But we can move from this illusion of individualism into the truth of our interdependence, our interbeing, just in a single breath, just in a single moment of touching the earth, allowing the earth to witness our belonging, in a single moment of caring about what's happening for another, really truly opening our heart, being receptive to the difficulty, the challenge that another might be going through, but also allowing ourselves to be helped, to receive support, to say to ourselves, maybe to another, I want to be connected. I can't hold this alone. That in and of itself is this collective refuge as a change of lineage. We can have a change of lineage from conceptualizing our experience, from, like I said, picking up a thought and making a world out of it, even if it's a Dharma thought. We can go from that to being more embodied, to really sensing, how is this as my lived experience, as our lived embodied experience? How does it feel in the body? What is it connected with? So that we move out of these conceptual frameworks and more into the sense of embodiment, of being Dharma, living Dharma. And I feel that this is so important in this time, this collective refuge, the sense of community, because we can feel the forces of division. We can feel how strong that is, the sense of dividing and pitting people against each other and so on. And that when we form networks, when we form communities, as the trees do through the mycorrhizal network, as all of nature does, this matrix of the natural world, there is strength, there is symbiosis, there is a sense of being held, a sense of opening and deeply caring for another as we do for ourselves. And so the Buddha taught this famous teaching that in this world, hatred is never dispelled by hatred. Only non-hatred, or sometimes it's translated as love, dispels hate. This is the law, ancient and inexhaustible. This is from the Dhammapada. So this is the truth of karma, the divisiveness, the separativeness, the sense of greed. This will not uplift, and this will not lead to non-hatred, to deep care, to the sense of a future together. It is only through this practice of collective refuge, of interdependency, of our belonging, that we can really truly wake up. And as I said, tomorrow is Martin Luther King Day. And I was reading a teaching from John A. Powell. He has the Center for Belonging in Berkeley. You can go online and read this. But he was saying how important it is to remember Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King, as Reverend Martin Luther King, because he was truly a spiritual teacher. Sometimes this is sort of erased, but that Martin Luther King's teachings were very much rooted in his spirituality and his sense, again, of a beloved community. And very similar to the teaching of the Buddha, Martin Luther King said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So the sense that we are again and again attending to our own heart, to our own mind. We're taking refuge in metta, in karuna, in upekkha, in this ability to see over, to see a larger picture, in wisdom. Again, this truth that we are interconnected, we are interwoven, that there is suffering, that our own suffering is not different, not so different than the suffering of another, and vice versa. And that all things are in this state of change and flux. We realign with this again and again, but it's not just me and it's not just you. We can do this together, and that this has great power, this has great impact, and has always been the path of awakening. So sometimes in the story of the life of the Buddha, there's a sense of a hero's journey, that the Buddha left home, he left his wife and family and set out onto this path of awakening and discovered the awakened heart-mind, the sure heart's release. And yet when we actually contemplate the story of his life, we realize that again and again, he was awakened. His path was supported by community, by the collective, by the practitioners, the shramanas who he practiced with before his awakening. He practiced this very profound ascetic practice of starvation, of not taking in almost no food until he was completely emaciated. And that wasn't ultimately the path to awakening, but those practitioners were sincere. They taught him everything that they knew. They thought that was a path, the transcending the body, denying our interconnectedness, the truth of an earth body, that was the way. And so in that way, they helped his awakening. They were part of his path. And the moment when he was so weak that he could almost not go on, he was seen. He was witnessed by, it's described as a young person, a young woman, Sujata, who was so practical. It's like she saw the suffering, she saw the starvation, she saw what was needed. She had a compassionate heart that was responsive, just like our own heart. And she offered him food, milk rice. And so really, the Buddha's awakening came about through Sujata, because he would have perished there, going on and on with this practice, this ascetic practice. But in that moment, there was an offering. There was a response, there was an outreach of nourishment. And he reciprocated by accepting help. So maybe this is the most important moment of awakening, when we accept help. When we realized we can't do this by ourselves, that it's okay to be nourished. It's okay to actually receive the offering. It's okay to open to the way that the world is offering itself to us every moment, again and again, calling us into being. And so the Buddha woke up through Sujata, through the Bodhi tree, the shelter, the refuge of the tree, through Musalinda, the serpent, who also sheltered him, and through Mara, this embodiment of the mind that's entangled in greed, hatred, and delusion, the hindrances, all the ways that we are challenged by mind, that actually that very mind that becomes entangled, that very moment when we realize, oh, there's suffering, and this is how it's arising, from wanting and not wanting, that's also the awakening. That's how the Buddha woke up, with the support of Mara. And again, Mara showed up through his lifetime, and the Buddha saw this embodiment, this pointing to there is dukkha, and it can be understood. There can be a compassionate response here and now. So, my friends, as we go out into our days, in our lives, we can reach out, we can hold each other, we can accept help, we can be receptive, remember our belonging. Even though it's challenging, I know it's a challenging time. So let's close with the heart mantra of Avalokiteshvara, Kuan Yin, this reminder to return to collective refuge, the matrix of the heart. This is on page 3. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. So thank you, dear friends, for being here in Sangha. Thank you to all of our teachers, all of my teachers, to this lineage. And I'm going to put the donate button or the link into the chat. We really appreciate all the ways that you might have already supported Sacred Mountain Sangha and these teachings, and that you might do so in the future. And also some upcoming offerings. Gulu Singh is starting a course on Monday, January 27th. This is titled 10 Suttas Everyone Should Know. I'm excited about this course, and this begins next week. There's also chanting every morning on the Sacred Mountain platform that goes into February. I think that's from 7 to 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. So I'm going to go ahead and I will stop our recording.